Kalashnikova! If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go check out the movie and then come back to this review. I saw the movie nearly 9 days after its release. It was due to personal reasons, I just couldn't watch it at the time. But then I finally saw it and I went with a friend of mine and we had a great time at the theater. Now, here's the real question. With all the hype that's out there, and I've seen a lot of reviews and things like that, the real question is KGF Chapter 2 really worth the hype? And my honest answer after seeing this movie is yes it is, and here's why. Without going too much into the spoilers, KGF Chapter 2 picks up where KGF Chapter 1 ended. The story begins with the question of what happened to KGF after Rocky killed Garuda. Unfortunately, our narrator from Chapter 1, Anand Inglagi, played by a phenomenal Anand Nag, has a stroke overnight and is admitted in the hospital. Writer and director Prashanth Neel commented that the actor did not want to be a part of Chapter 2 due to personal reasons and therefore they had to replace him. Of course, they didn't want to make too much change to the story or character. So as per the story, Anand Inglagi suffers a stroke overnight and is admitted, and therefore his son comes into the picture, Vijayendra Inglagi, played by the phenomenal Prakash Raj. But all is not as straightforward as it seemed. You see, Vijayendra Inglagi had a difficult relationship with his father Anand Inglagi, and therefore he is bitter when it comes to the story of KGF. He says his father never really paid attention to his family, and the only thing he paid attention to was finding out what happened at KGF and writing the story. However, he agrees to help tell the story or find out more based on the request made by Deepa Hegde, the chief editor of the news channel, played by Malavika Avinash. Together, they all travel to Anand Iglagi's office and then search through the various documents until they come across the final draft for KGF Chapter 2. And I have to say, the reveal for the title is quite goosebumps inducing, because when the title comes, it's actually not even a book, it's a bunch of pages binded together, and one of the peon guy who was in the first movie, right, he's the one who discovers it, it's on top of a book and he sort of moves it away and it's slowly relieved KGF Chapter 2, the final draft. Vijayendra Inglagi then continues the story. Now when it comes to story itself, like in Chapter 1, Chapter 2 also covers a lot of details, there are a lot of characters and there are a lot of subplots to cover. I'm not going to go all into that because it really needs to be experienced in the movie theater. But to give the cliff notes, KGF Chapter 2 is all about Rocky establishing his control over KGF. And it's a difficult task ahead of him. There are bad guys, lots and lots of bad guys, the people who actually sent him here to kill Garuda so they could take control. Then of course there is Suryavardhan's brother, the main antagonist of this movie, Adira, played by a menacing, scary Sanjay Dutt. Now if you ask me or just about any viewer, it would seem that Adira's character is quite one-dimensional. Yes, he's the antagonist. Yes, he's scary, he's menacing, and that's about it. However, that's all that is required. Sanjay Dutt's character is not required to show a range of emotion or different shades of it. His role over there is as the main antagonist is what's required for the story. Now, Suryavardhan and Adira, of course, found the mines and they were the owners. Now, if you remember back in Chapter 1, Adira made a promise that he would not try to take over KGF as long as Garuda was in charge, because that's what Suryavardhan wanted, and out of respect for his brother, he agreed his nephew to be in control. But that has all changed now. Garuda has been killed at the hands of Rocky, and Rocky, being an outsider, has taken over KGF, which does not agree with Adira. Therefore, he's charging towards KGF with his own army at hand, ready to battle and take over his KGF, as he says. Now, if things weren't challenging enough, there is also the character of Ramika Sen, played by an excellent informed Ravina Tandon. As they say in Chapter 1, here is a powerful person who comes from a powerful place, and Ravina Tandon's Ramika Sen is truly a powerful character. She's the Prime Minister of India, and she's a leader, and she's powerful, and she's bold, and she's strong, and I can't help but clap for her. She was excellent in this movie. Honestly, nowadays when they try to portray a strong female character, there is the unnecessary pouting, challenge and all of this, all these efforts to kind of put her up on a pedestal and show, oh, this is a big, strong, powerful. Nothing of this sorts, Everything is very natural. Yes, she takes charge, and yes, she issues commands like a prime minister, but there's nothing artificial about it, she takes on role as a leader, and that's her goal actually. She's not trying to show off, she's not trying to challenge anyone, she's not trying to fight anyone. As the Prime Minister of India, she sees herself as the leader of the country, and therefore she feels responsible towards the country. Last but not least, our RockyBhai, played by the rocking star Yash, just steals the show every scene he's in. As the new king of KGF, unlike his predecessors, he's a lot more kinder. He gives people money, he gives people food, he lets them, he builds houses for them. So there is again a responsibility over there to his people to take care of them. Of course, in return, he wants these people to work for him so that he can get the gold. So Rocky is in fact a dictator, there is no doubt about it, but he's a benevolent one. And of course, the people in KGF, of course, look up to their savior for guidance and for leadership, and they trust him. And there are over 20,000 people around that area, and they're completely loyal to him. Along with that, he has his own army, he has an arsenal of weapons, he's stylish, he's brave, he's gutsy, and as he proclaims in an exciting action sequence that takes place right after the interval, "The world is my territory." RockyBhai is truly that powerful person who comes from a powerful place and indeed can make places powerful. Alright, so coming back to the question of hype surrounding this movie, all the noise and all the reviews and everything people are saying, is it really worth it? To put it simply, yes, it is definitely worth it, and here's why. KGF Chapter 2, like KGF Chapter 1, is an unapologetic Indian action blockbuster. When it comes to the main plot or its characters, they do not hold back. In fact, just like RockyBhai, KGF Chapter 2 wants to flaunt what it has. The large set pieces, the style, the cinematography, the scale, there is enough and more happening to flaunt and exhibit, and the makers of KGF are absolutely proud to share that with the audience. In fact, when I looked up the budget online, it says 100 crores, but I'm genuinely surprised because when I saw the movie, it felt like a 500 crore movie. There are giant set pieces, there are big action sequences, and the cinematography in this movie is simply one of the best I've seen. Certain shots can look like world-class paintings that you can't take your eyes off. The makers have also put in a lot of effort in giving each character their own distinct look, and just like Chapter 1, there are several goosebumps inducing scenes in this movie. Whether it's RockyBhai's first scene in the movie where he makes his entrance amongst his enemies, or a scene you saw in the trailer where he holds a machine gun surrounded by men with other machine guns and he says, "Offer closer soon," or another scene you saw in the trailer where he exits a car with a bunch of his henchmen holding machine guns, all walking into what looks like the parliament. It's filled with so many thrilling sequences that you just can't take your eyes off the screen, and several memorable moments that will stay with you days after you've seen the movie, thereby making this a definite theatre experience that cannot be missed. And finally, story and characters that are unique and exciting enough to make it stand apart from your regular action masala Indian movies. If all of this sounds like your cup of tea, then go watch it right away, because it's definitely worth your time and definitely worth your money. Final thoughts and rating. So I said several positive points about the movie, a few negative points. Similar to Chapter 1, in Chapter 2 as well, the romance didn't work for me. There's a beautiful song called Mehbooba. I like that song. Aside from that, nothing really worked for me as far as the romance angle is concerned. Also, next is the sound design for this movie. Now I get it being a big epic action thriller, the sound plays an important role, and it gives a certain amount of impact to certain scenes and sequences, but there were times when I had to cover my ears because the sound felt like it was drilling into my eardrums. So I just felt like they could have kept it's like the maximum volume was 10 and they decided to keep the volume at 20. So at times it was just it was like the sound was just hammering into your head. It kind of affected my viewing experience because I was really enjoying the movie. And times when this sound with, especially in those big action sequences and explosions, and because the BGM again, I love the BGM. Don't get me wrong, the sound has a lot of impact on various sequences. It's just that it's loud. Like, keep the volume down. That's all I'm saying. Keep the volume down to a little bit. Just reduce it, and it would have been great. And I kept hearing that in several reviews as well. People said that it's a little loud. I get it, and I kept thinking like, oh, it's a loud movie. It's a big action franchise. Of course, it's going to be loud. That's not the issue. It's not that there's a lot of action and there's a lot of noise. It's just that you need to reduce the volume. That's all I'm saying. It kind of affected my viewing experience, and that was the only thing I wasn't enjoying throughout the entire runtime of the movie. And speaking of the runtime, it's over 2.5 hours. I think it's close to 3 hours or 2 hours 45 minutes, but it's extremely well fast paced. In fact, when I compare it to the first movie, this felt like it was going at breakneck speed, or probably, there was a lot happening on screen and it was engaging my attention, so I hardly felt the time go by. I was really engrossed in the movie to see what was going to happen. There are quite a bit, few twists and turns in the movie. Great iconic scenes. There is you probably saw it in the trailer, but I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it. There's let's say there's a shootout sequence, that's a real standout. Rocky and his gang against Adira and his gang. It's pretty iconic. I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember that for the rest of their lives. The way it's revealed and how it plays out on screen. The second sequence is when, again, you saw in the trailer where Rocky all bloody and bleeding from his head, and he exits his car, and he's got a bunch of henchmen, and he's kind of walking into the parliament with machine gun. That sequence exciting. There's also a sequence in the trailer where he says offer closer soon. Exciting moments. And just like in chapter 1, there are lots of quote worthy dialogues as well. Well, what is in chapter 1? If you're bad, I'm your dad. One who comes with gangs is a gangster. The one who comes alone is a monster. There are quite a few dialogues in this as well. The whole world is my territory. There's a dialogue called I'm the CEO of India. There are a huge bunch of scenes. It's not just the dialogues. The scenes and the supporting players also complement those dialogues. The way it's being presented, the way he delivers, of course. And I saw a dubbed version. I saw the Malayalam dubbed version of the movie, but they've done a great job. It's not like other languages where they dub for the sake of dubbing. They put some thought into it. They come up with genuine dialogues that kind of tells you the story and gives all the impact that's needed. And it's great overall. Lots of dialogues, lots of epic scenes, lots of fun. You can go out with your friends and just have a blast. It's a lot of epicness and a lot of action, and you can clap, you can hoot. The guy next to me was whistling and clapping so much. At some point, he had a sore throat and he stopped. And I was like, thank God, because every time he's whistling, it's just going right in my ears. I finally sort of give it a rest. But yeah, I get the excitement. Everyone is. Like I said, everything is presented in such a large-scale manner. When you watch it on screen, you can't help yourself but get goosebumps. The way it's done, it rises above, like I said, the normal action blockbuster from Indian movies. Whatever you've seen in the past, KGF rises above it, because I think what Prashanth Neel said is that I want to make a big action epic movie. But there are two things he wanted. One is that I want to be able to tell a multi-layered story, and he's done that. The second thing he said was like, I wanted to be, I wanted to have a certain class to it. So it's not just the costumes they wear. Like I said, there's a lot of effort and goes to framing certain shots and how certain scenes are presented. It's you can see that they put a lot of thought into it. It's not just the visuals and things like that. The placement of the actors, the positions, the camera angles, everything has a certain class feel to it. So I guess this would be the perfect example, mass plus class, but it's done really, really well. Now, having said that, my final rating would be 4.5 out of 5. It's an unapologetic action thriller blockbuster from Indian cinema. 100% worth your time and attention. Make no mistake, if you love action movies, if you love action blockbusters, go watch it, go check it out. So that's it for my review, guys. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up icon, and of course subscribe to my channel for more reviews. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Bye.